Hi, everybody, and welcome to Cryptid Watch. I'm so excited because this is our first ever live guest. We're used to telling stories and relaying encounters and videos, but I was contacted by this gentleman to relay to us his amazing encounter with the British Bigfoot. So without further ado, Steve, please introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening. Yeah, my name's Steve. I live in North Lincolnshire, and basically, thank you so much for taking my story. I'm just trying to get it out there and hope other people come forward as well with something that I saw. I think other people have seen it as well, so looking forward to telling the story.
Sure. I think, this is my hope that we will bring out a lot more stories about the British Bigfoot, or the Woodwoes as it's called locally. I think a lot of people have had encounters, but they're scared to talk about it. They think people are going to say, much like America, they think people think they're crazy, or even they were hallucinating or had too much to drink. But I know from my own experiences that something mysterious is going on in our woods, and I think we need to talk about it. So please, if you would, dive in. Oh, first of all, give us a little bit of background about who you are, if you wouldn't mind, Steve.
Yeah, my name's Steve. I live in North Lincolnshire. Live in a pretty rural village here in North Lincolnshire. I would describe myself as just a pretty normal guy. I run my own branch of a home improvement store in Sheffield. I've got a lovely wife, two beautiful daughters, 5 grandkids, 2 dogs. Love my movies and video games and stuff like that. But I'm just a normal fella who loves his music, but had, because of music, it's still there. It's still sometimes difficult to talk about what I saw coming home after I finished a gig way back in 1994. I mean, at the start of this conversation, you said you're hoping other people come forward. It took me 28 years to actually speak about this.
Wow, yeah, you're not alone in that. I'm aware of a lot of the stories in America where people take decades sometimes, just because of, how unusual the encounter was. There might be a feeling of again, being misunderstood. Some people have very traumatized encounters, so it's something that takes time and often a lot of courage to share. So, by the way, I love music too. I did have some form of music career, but that's for another podcast. So please, Steve, take us from beginning to end in detail about the encounter you had.
Yeah, it was way back in 1994. 24 years old. I was a mobile DJ back in the day. I started when I was at school, through my last year of school. Discovered music and the effect it has on people, and thought I could probably make a semi-good career out of doing this. We went all over the country, but we used to do about every 6 weeks a village hall called Hibblestow, which is in North Lincolnshire. It's a pretty rural village, very similar to where I live now. And it was just a normal night. It was always a good night there because all the village came to the club. Everybody had a bit of a dance, a few drinks. It was back in the day where obviously I was driving, so I made sure that I didn't drink at all during them days. How things have changed, but it was just a normal night, and there was me and my mate as usual doing the gig, and it was a good night. And we finished around about 11:30, packed the gear up into his van. Probably left about a bit of a chat. We left probably about 5 to 12. He journeyed north to Lincoln, and I headed towards Scunthorpe, where I lived with my mum and dad at the time. So, like I said, it was a normal night, and I headed out of Hibblestow. And literally, as you head out of Hibblestow, there's quite a rural road which leads to a place called Scorby. which is another village, and I was heading out there, and the music was on in the car, and windows were down because it was a really, really warm night. July 1994, not a care in the world. And just pootling along on the road, and there's a flyover in between Dinsdale and Scunthorpe, and there's a cement works on the left hand side. So as I came over the flyover, my headlights picked up what I thought was somebody, the food that had been run over. So I'm crikey, prepared to slow down and I pull over and help this person. Well, as I got closer, this person in the headlights stood up, probably 20-25 foot in front of me. Whatever it was doing on the road, I think it was picking up something from the road. I think maybe I've stopped this man, whatever you like to call it, covered head to toe in hair or fur. The bulk I've always described as that the top is a bodybuilder, massive shoulders and barrel chest, but relatively thin legs. Height-wise, I would say probably no more than probably 6.5 foot tall, but it was just the bulk that I saw. But as it moved and turned from left to right, its left arm swung behind it, and I knew that it picked something up from the road. But I could see breath from its nose and its mouth, matted straw and grass in the hair, and it moved pretty fluidly in 2 or 3 steps down onto the path and into the woods. And I'm like, you can't comprehend what you're seeing. It's still kind of like strange and difficult now. By this time, it was behind me, or kind of like a 4 o'clock position. So I'm in my car, and I could see it in the wing mirror and in my peripheral vision as I glanced back, and I could still see the matted fur and grass, but I could see like the grass seed as it moved, or dust that was coming off the hair or the fur, and it made a couple of grunt sounds when I thought were grunt sounds. It moved off into the undergrowth. So this was from seeing this thing on the road to it actually moving down into the undergrowth, and me going past it was probably about 15 seconds.
Right.
No more than that.
Sure. So when you said you thought it was a person that had been run over, was it crouching or lying on the road?
No, it was crouched.
Crouched down, crouched like squatted like a person would, or crouched like an animal?
Yeah, if you imagine somebody with the knees up to the chest.
Yep.
Like that, it was very, very much like that.
Right.
And it stood up, turned quite fluidly, moved from left to right, down into the brush and into the wood.
So where it was when you saw it, it was in your lane?
No, it was in the opposite lane.
Opposite lane, I see.
Sorry, no, it was in my lane.
Yes.
It was more kind of like where the white line and the verge.
I see.
It was more kind of like 11 o'clock position.
I see.
Where my car was.
So you went by it at that position, and then it crossed the road behind you? No,
it actually crossed in front of me.
Crossed in front of you, okay.
Crossed in front. I saw it pick whatever it was. It turned around. It moved left to right in 3 steps down onto the path, then into the undergrowth, and that was the bit where it crossed in front of me. As it moved into the undergrowth, I was just moving past it, and I could see the kind of like the face having, I would describe it as like a grey or white sheen to the face. It was
Right.
very, very shiny, very, very shiny.
Mm.
The actual fur,
Yeah.
the actual jaw and the mouth was, I wouldn't say a lot lower, but a significantly lower than what ours is.
Right.
As it moved off.
Sure. We'll come back to how it looked in a second. Just more interested in kind of what sort of speed were you doing when this happened?
I went over the brow, over the flyover. I was probably doing a good 40 miles an hour because it's pretty tight.
I see.
The bends in the road
Mm-hmm.
on Google Maps is quite a tight bend as you go over. So I'd probably say 35, 40
Right, yeah.
miles an hour, 35, 40 miles an hour.
Sure. So, but you obviously had enough time to see this creature and for it to dash across the road.
It was in my main beams, and like I say, from actually seeing it,
Yep.
me slowing down, it moving across the car and down, I would say probably no more than 15 seconds.
Sure. And did it have any eye shine in the headlights?
I didn't see any eye shine at all.
Interesting.
None at all.
None. And you said that the hair itself had like a shine to it?
The face had a shine.
Oh, the face had a shine.
Yeah, the actual hair. People say like it could have been a ghillie suit. I'm like 24 years old. I have no idea then what a ghillie suit was. And when I look at a ghillie suit and look at I've sketched it quite a few times, and it's nowhere near muscular thing.
Yeah.
Moved with fluidity, dropped down. It wasn't a ghillie suit.
Yeah, and I can say back in 1994, ghillie suits weren't, widely available as they are now or known so much culturally. So I think that was much more likely in the early 90s. Never mind wearing that on a dark road where someone could hit you at 40 miles an hour.
Exactly.
So what color was the fur itself?
I would say it was like a real dark brown.
Dark brown, right.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't black. It was more like a tan to dark brown. There were different coloured patches in it.
Okay.
Where the grass and the straw was there, it looked like at the side of its left-hand shoulder as it dropped down. It looked like the shoulder was like more like a whitish grey colour, just a patch on the shoulder.
Interesting.
But obviously as it dropped down, the main colour was red, obviously because it was in that bright light.
Yep.
And the lights at the back, but it was just the face that had the sheen to it.
Right. So, sorry, just with the hair, how long was the hair?
If you looked at the hair of probably somebody who hadn't had a haircut for about 3 or 4 years, it was like that. It was a good length. As it moved away, I could see grass seed or dust particles in the headlights.
Wow.
Coming from it, and it was that close, and with the humidity, I could see the breath as well. As it breathed it and got up, but the length of the fur, it's difficult to describe, until you physically grab hold of a piece and pulled it out to actually see. I would say probably down the back was thicker than the arms.
Right. Okay. So, if I say like Highland cow, was it that hairy?
Quite similar.
Similar to Highland cow.
Probably a little bit more thick, I would say, than a Highland cow.
Right. Yeah, this is very, very, very interesting. And so the face, would you say the face appeared oily? Do you think that's why the face shone?
That's a good point. Quite possibly.
Okay. And did you did you see the details of the features of the face?
I saw the eye, but there was no kind of eye shine that I saw, because the majority of the face was from kind of like a 4 or 5 o'clock position.
I see.
As it went down and looked, I could still see the side of the face, but I didn't see any ears at all.
Okay, and was the face covered in hair, or was it mostly skin?
No, it was I would say the fur stopped, or the hair. I keep calling it fur. I don't know what it was. It probably stopped mid forehead.
Right. Okay.
The fur, but the actual features from the eyes down to probably about an inch or two from the chin, it was kind of like a shiny sheen to the face.
Right. So if I said like gorilla, similar to that?
Very, very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah.
And you said that the jaw was lower than on a human being.
It was the mouth that seemed lower. The mouth seemed to have like a stoop to the mouth. The bottom lip seemed to have like a stoop to the side.
Yep.
It's difficult to describe.
No, I understand. I've seen purported pictures of Bigfoot, and that's exactly how their mouth is. It actually stoops down at the corners.
Right.
Its nose, could you see its nose?
Not really. I would say that the nose, was more. I would say like an Indian person. Where you get like the flared nostrils.
Right. So it had quite a wide nose.
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't. What's the word? Pronounced.
Right.
It was more kind of like, I don't know.
Well, some people say it's like a boxer's nose. It looks a bit squashed in.
Yeah, that's one word for it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it looks like a button nose.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't pronounced.
Right, I see. So.
Where our nostrils are quite tight together, these were more from what I can envisage. These were like flared out.
Mm-hmm. And so it didn't have much of a nose bridge or anything.
Not that sort. No.
Right, I see. No, that correlates quite well with a lot of the accounts from across the pond. It's just so amazing to be hearing these things from here in the UK. It seems almost incredulous, but you're not the first person I've been in contact about British Bigfoot sightings, and though I've not had a visual myself, I've had experience that suggests very much they do live here.
I've never actually. I don't know what it was. I told it the Brigg Bogman.
Yep.
At the start, because I saw. It must have been in 2022. A lady had an experience on the A15.
Right.
It was just in one of the kind of like newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
One of the local newspapers saying this woman had seen this dark furred creature on the A15, which is like the main road between Scunthorpe and Lincoln. But she saw it in broad daylight on a Saturday afternoon.
Wow.
And I'm like, it's a mile from where I had my sighting.
Wow. So
I saw some more stories. How your life takes over. 1994, July '94. I was 24 years old. I met my wife after in '98, and kind of like life takes over.
Yeah.
And I've had an interest in the paranormal and unexplained stuff, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I like stuff that you can't explain, and I like stuff that gets people talking. But this, it's 12 to 15 seconds of my life that I'm thinking, why did I see it?
Sure.
And why didn't somebody else see it? People were leaving the village hall, probably 20-25 minutes before I had the sighting.
Yeah, my guess would be I might conjecture that maybe other people have seen it, but they're not coming forward about it for these reasons, because the first reaction is, well, you're crazy, you were seeing something, or you had too much to drink at Steve's party, so because it's just so outlandish to think that there's a large hairy man-looking thing, primate, whatever you want to call it, that is living on our small island. But it is.
I just wish that, genuinely, hand on heart, that if I'm alive, in 20, 30 years' time, which I probably doubt it, there's a chip where people can actually take your memories and actually project your memories to actually see what I saw.
See what you saw, yeah.
Yeah, because it's sometimes it's easy to talk about it sometimes, and I've been back there a few times, and the place just has, it's a very, very strange atmosphere. I went with a chap called Paul Sinclair. I don't know whether you've heard of Paul. He's a YouTube channel called Truth Proof.
Oh, right.
And he's very much a skeptic. He likes to delve into things. He's a really, really nice guy. And myself and Paul went to the location, and I didn't know there was a path there.
Right.
Obviously, it drops down.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, right, there's a path there. So as it dropped down, it did drop down a couple of feet as it went into the brush.
Yep.
And exactly the place where I saw it is the gap in the brush.
Wow.
And potato factory, which is across the road, and then there's all the mine tunnels. Once you start doing the digging, there's the mine tunnels from Immingham Docks to Scunthorpe Steelworks.
Yeah, there's all sorts going on there. You said it feels weird around there. In my experience, and what I've heard as well from other people, is where these creatures live, you just feel strange when you're there. It can feel like a sense of dread, or you can feel like you need to leave. Was it that kind of feeling?
I wouldn't say leave. It was just very quiet. In that rural area, you get your birds and stuff like that, but it's just whether it's because I'm kind of like in the back of my head nervous, because Paul said to me, are you all right? And I'll be 100% honest with anybody, where I actually, when I got to the location and saw that there was a path and a drop down, I actually found myself getting pretty emotional, if that makes sense.
It does, because that's
what I saw then. I felt kind of like justified. When I went back there to have a look.
No, I can imagine. I can imagine seeing that path and thinking, well, I saw something and it went down that path. No, I completely understand, and I want to thank you again for coming on the challenge, speaking about this. I know it's not easy, so I just really appreciate it, and
Yeah, I'm hoping other people, like you say, who've seen this or seen something similar will come forward, because have you heard about the deer legs that were found?
No, I haven't heard that. Please tell me.
Right, I'll send you the links. You'll get that, and obviously pass it on to the listeners as well. But outside of Brigg, Brigg's the next town from Hibblestow, Scorby, and Brigg. There's Humberside Airport, which is just outside of Brigg.
Right.
I think there was a couple of lads who'd been, I think, either fishing or something, and they was travelling along the road to where the airport was, and they found 2 deer legs laid on the road that had been completely ripped from the body.
Right. Wow.
So the actual carcass body had gone, but the legs were laid on the road. It wasn't hit by a car or anything, because there was no blood splatter or anything like that. So the legs were laid there with the sinew, muscle, bones still intact.
Wow. And and what, something needs hands to do that, very strong hands.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wonder if it was leaving them there to get run over so it could get at the bone marrow, but that's just my imagination.
I'll do some digging. I'll send you a link to that.
Yeah, you've just said something that made me smile ear to ear, because you mentioned an airport being nearby.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you something about pretty much every UK Bigfoot sighting I'm aware of. there is almost always an airport involved.
Right. Okay.
So there was a sighting on the way to Bristol in Somerset, between a place called Melsey and Yatton, and it was near Bristol Airport. There was a sighting in Cornwall that was right behind Newquay Airport. There was another sighting, the place escapes me, up north, and again, it was right by an airport. And now you're telling me the Brigg Bogman was seen, within proximity to an airport. Yeah, so I'll tell you why I think that is. Not because they're flying in from America, but Bigfoot's on holiday, but because airports are very secure places. They're very large places, and they're not places that most civilians can just sneak around. They're not places where you can just, other than the odd plane spotter, the outskirts of airports don't have heavy footfall. So as soon as I started joining the dots on this, I thought this makes perfect sense. That would be the ideal place for this creature to live, because nobody's going to disturb it in those kind of places. Airports, army bases. One that I'm actively investigating down here in Devon was near a racecourse. So to me, I'm like, when you mentioned that just valid. Not that I didn't believe you, but that was the cherry on the top that there's an airport nearby. Because to me, that's where these creatures live. They live on the edges of airports. They live on the edge of military areas, places where they are not going to be disturbed.
Well, because there was another sighting in Bradley Woods at Grimsby.
Right.
I think somebody's actually got a photo.
Oh wow!
If you've not heard of that, I'll send you the link.
Please do.
To that, yeah. Wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah, it just came to me just collecting the sightings. I'd get the map up and I'd have a think about the terrain, and literally every time there was an airport there. So to me, that excites me because that points to a biological creature, not just something supernatural, but something that needs somewhere quiet that people cannot go because of obviously sensitive area where it could live in peace. So no, that lends a lot of credence to your sighting to me, that this creature has somewhere to live. So let me ask you, I mean, obviously, there's no right or wrong answer here, but what do you think this creature was? Do you think, this was a hairy man, it's a primate, it's an animal? What's your opinion on it?
I don't know. I mean, I've never actually seen. People have said, I stopped Paul Sinclair in his tracks when he said, it was a monster. I said, look, don't put words in my mouth. I've never ever said it was a monster. It was something that I cannot explain. Whether it was a half man, half primate, a Stig of the Dump kind of person, which a couple of people have said, would it be similar to like Stig of the Dump? The book.
Yeah, I remember that.
Possibly, but it was somebody covered in fur with the muscle mass of a bodybuilder.
Right.
Now, how on earth does somebody who's living get the muscle mass like that? But then once you dig deeper again, which I've done over the past 3 years, a lot of dogs and animals have gone missing in the area. Chickens, pigs, dogs. There's a hell of a lot of animals that have gone missing. Some dragged over, fences and barbed wire fences and stuff like that. So it's The answer to your questions, honestly, hand on heart, I don't know what I saw. All I know is that this thing moved and it was breathing. And it was flesh and blood. It wasn't like they say on these programs. It can cloak. It can do this.
Yeah.
This was physical flesh and bone.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not trying to, lead you into anything. I'm just going by what you're stating and what I'm aware of from Bigfoot and Yeti and Yeren and all these creatures around the world, that they are flesh and blood. I have a minor zoological background. Professionally, I'm a digital designer, so I try and come at this scientifically. And I agree with you. These are flesh and blood creatures. They're not things that can disappear and appear when they want, because then they wouldn't need to live in the woods, would they? They could appear in the city or anywhere. Why do people see them in areas where an actual creature could survive? Why are animals going missing? Spirits don't eat. Ghosts, they don't eat. So I'm glad that you're of that opinion. Because that's what you saw, a real creature. It didn't disappear. It didn't float. It was probably eating some roadkill, and you disturbed its dinner, and
I believe that. I disturbed it doing something.
Yeah, and it ran away down a physical path that is still there, into a tunnel, into the outskirts of an airport somewhere, where it's living, and from that base, it's killing local animals. So, you mentioned the muscle mass again. I'm not trying to lead you into anything here, but people, bodybuilders, to get that muscle mass, they take performance-enhancing drugs. I don't know if you knew that, but they take steroids. They take steroids. As a child, I used to think, oh, I want to be muscly, and then as an adult, I realized, well, you can actually do that without help. But then you see this thing that has that physique without steroids. So what that suggests to me, it has the physique of an animal, of an elite predator, like a bear is like solid muscle. And it's designed in a way where through eating what it can catch, it can maintain that muscle mass. Whereas a human being, we cannot maintain that without a very heavy diet and without drugs. So again, to me, that goes away from something like a feral human towards something more animal, something more primate. That's just my opinion from what you're telling me. Again, these creatures, they walk, they run, they walk on two legs. It appears so man-like. So I'm not discounting any of that, but at the same time, people don't sneak around in the middle of the night eating roadkill, covered in hair, been rolling in the straw and dirt. We might roll in the straw and dirt in the middle of the night for other reasons, but we're not 6.5 foot tall, covered in hair. So again, this to me speaks of an undocumented hominid primate that is alive, breathing, and is living in our nation. Are you aware of the Woodwose legend here in Great Britain?
I am, yes.
Yeah. So to me, Woodwose represents the UK Bigfoot, and they're not extinct. Somehow, in our very populated little island, they've managed to hang on, and they're still breeding. They're rare. They're almost exclusively nocturnal. They're probably living subterraneously. You did mention mines, didn't you, or tunnels? Yeah, so probably living subterraneously or in very hard-to-reach areas or forbidden areas. But they're here, they're living and breathing, and that, I believe that's what you saw. You saw the UK Woodwose or UK Bigfoot, which actually, I know you don't feel great about it, but to me, it's a great privilege, as traumatizing as these things can be sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't say got used to it.
Yeah,
I would say probably found peace with it.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah.
Because I spoke to Danny Robbins from BBC's Uncanny.
Oh, wow.
And he actually featured this story on the Uncanny tour that he's been doing.
Yes, you told me, yeah.
He's even said that he's had so many emails from people who have seen something very, very similar, if not the same.
Yep.
So, yeah, It's strange. It's 12 to 15 seconds of my life that I can't explain. I can try, but, 15 seconds of your life 32 years ago. Yeah, because I think what I've found kind of like strange, while I've been kind of looking at research and stuff like that, is these people say, oh, I had this experience. I think it was 1989 or 1990. If you had this experience, you would know exactly when it was.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yep.
It was this year. I think it was this year. You would know exactly when it was. So that's what I believe.
I agree. And just from my perspective, again, we don't know until someone kills or captures one of these creatures. So again, anything I'm saying is just my opinion and theory. But I would say you saw a real creature. You're not crazy. You're one of the few people in this country that has witnessed a mystery primate that we've been told our whole lives does not exist. We've been told you're a kook, you're crazy if you believe in Bigfoot in America, let alone here in the UK. Just in January, I had a sighting of probably what was the Exmoor beast, a large black cat.
Wow.
And people tell you're crazy for seeing a black leopard, which we know are real. People have admitted releasing them around here. How much more, 6-7 foot tall man-like thing covered in hair?
I've had a lot of people, especially over the past year, when I've been doing a lot of research, and obviously with the uncanny tour going out, oh, you're making it up, and like, look, why would I make it up?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, long story short is September 2024, I was diagnosed with a brain abscess and was given a day to live.
Wow. So
my life perspective since September the 15th, 2024 has changed. I'm saying to people, if you believe that I'm nutty, crazy, or I'm making it up, that's your opinion. But I can guarantee you that I saw exactly what I saw for those 15 seconds while I was kind of like recuperating, just to try and keep my brain occupied and me semi-sane. I did a hell of a lot of reading, and this subject was what I basically read about for 3 months. I delved into all kinds of sightings and stuff like that all around the world. And there's so many things that tie in to what I saw and what other people in this country have seen.
Definitely.
So that's my take. My life has changed, and if I can help somebody who's probably been sat on this their whole lives, if I can help them, bring it forward or get it off their chest, then if I've helped one person, then it's worth it.
Well, I've got a good feeling that you're going to help a lot of people with this going out there. So I think you will. I'm going to let you go soon. I don't want to take too much of your time, but just one thing I forgot to bring up again. You said it made a grunting noise.
Yes, it did.
So how would you describe that? I'm not going to ask you to imitate it, but was it like the grunting of like a monkey or something like that?
It was a cross. I mean, it's pretty much documented that there's like a whoop sound.
Yes.
It was more like a reverse snort, as I called it. If when you're kind of like laughing and you snort. Yeah. Some people do it. It was very, very similar. That's the closest I can think to what it actually sounded like. It's like if someone was laughing and the snort. Yeah. If you reverse that, that's what it sounded like. So like guttural. So
like a sharp intake of breath, basically. Yeah. I know that deer do snort. And I've heard people say in America that Bigfoot makes a similar sound. They do, when agitated, make this kind of, like you said, like a really loud snort. You said reverse, so that I suppose it'd be expelling the air more than inhaling. Yeah. Yeah, so deer do a similar thing, and I've heard Bigfoot does it as well.
Right, I never knew that. That's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I just thought it was the middle like a whoop.
Oh, no, many different sounds, but again, I've definitely heard they snort. Somebody thought it was a deer, but what they saw was definitely not a deer. It was a hairy thing like you saw. But all sorts of sounds, and even imitating sounds as well. Imitating owls, imitating, I saw a video of a man, I think he had an encounter, one of these stealth campers in the woods. He didn't say what he thought it was, but if you watch the video, and I can't remember which one it was, it sounds like he's encountering a woodwose because he hears dogs barking, but there's no dogs. And it almost sounds like a person doing it, like ruff, 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 very, very bizarre. But that's what we hear about these creatures, that they do mimic other animals, and that is, biologically speaking, tigers actually mimic deer. So it is known zoologically that predators will do that. So, to hear that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, no, it's amazing. You not only had the sighting, you had a vocalization as well, which is amazing. Kind of a aggressive, or I'd say frustrated snort that you had interrupted the evening meal or whatever it was doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. You said you made some sketches?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Would you be able to send those to me? Is that possible?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd do that. That's no problem at all.
Yes, thank you. And maybe another time or via email, I might try a bit of a forensic sketch with you as well, or maybe produce some sort of digital composite. As I said, I'm a digital professional, so maybe we'll see if produce something else, and hopefully jog some people's memories about what they've seen up and down this country.
Yeah, that'd be good. If, like I say, if we just help one person just come forward, and it's worth it then if we just help them. Yeah. It
is definitely. That's why I'm doing this. Yeah. Well, Steve, so great to have you on. I've really enjoyed our conversation. For everybody out there, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to hear more stories like Steve's. And we'll catch everybody next time on Cryptid Watch.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve.